Hello, hello.
Okay, we are recording. And welcome. Welcome to the 2025 Learn About Teaching in Spain with CIEE. So we're going to share some information about the program, introduce ourselves, meet some staff, and of course, answer your questions. If you do have any questions, we'll answer them all at the end. We're also recording this and we'll send this information to you afterwards. But if you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A and then we'll answer later on. Great. So we're going to introduce ourselves really quick. My name is Lauren. I'm the Teach Abroad Manager. I taught in South Korea and Thailand. I've not taught in Spain, but have been working on the Spain portfolio for almost 4 years. Yeah, Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Rachel Dietz, and I am a TEFL advisor through CIEE. I've been with the company for a few years now, since 2022. And I did the CIEE Teach Abroad program in Madrid myself a few years back. So very excited to be here today to talk about teaching abroad and getting TEFL certified.
And M.
Yeah, and I am M. I am the brand new Teach in Spain advisor. I just started at the beginning of this month. I've also taught abroad. I taught a few years in Moscow, Russia, and a year in Shanghai. So lots of experience like moving abroad and teaching. So excited to be here.
Awesome. And then we also have Gabby. She's not here today, but she's an alumni of the Teach in Spain program and our Teach in Thailand program. In between all of us, we have taught abroad for over 10 years. So you got some people who have gone through visa processes before, who've had some tears before. I won't say who, but just going on a lot of fun adventures abroad. So a little bit about you guys. We want to do a poll. Let me launch this poll. Have you been to Spain before? One sec. Let me get that question going. So I want to hear a little bit about you.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So 50-50. Never had a perfect number before. But it looks like half of you have been to Spain before. I'm going to assume studying abroad, or maybe you just went on a trip. We do get a lot of study abroad alumni though. And we do also get a lot of people who have not been to Spain before, but want to be able to practice their Spanish. Or maybe, it's your first time out of the country. Teaching abroad is a great way to go and be able to live in another country for a year or two. Okay, next question. Why Spain? Okay. So yeah, a lot of you want to learn Spanish and do something different. And then of course we have people, you get a lot of time to travel around Europe, especially with this part-time job, and then gaining professional experience. And I have one more question. Maybe it's not letting me launch it. Let's see if I can do it. Well, I don't know why the poll won't work. What does TEFL stand for? Maybe I can make this one. It's not. Hang on. Well, anyone know? Rachel, what does TEFL stand for? That one's not working on my end.
TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and it's a certificate that you can get to prove your skills for teaching English as a foreign language.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit more about our program, Teaching in Spain. We do guarantee you placement in the region of Madrid. What we mean by the region of Madrid is like the cities and towns around Madrid. And Lauren will go more into like what the region is later. You'll also be working 16 hours per week. And that's just teaching hours. So you might also have some like prep time and other meetings to do, but you can expect to be on site like no more than like 25 hours a week. So it is really a part-time job. You will only work 4 days a week, which means you get great 3-day weekends to go explore Spain. Usually you'll have Monday or Friday off. You also do get compensation. You'll get 1,000 euros monthly stipend. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it'll give you enough to live comfortably around Madrid. We also have a lot of resources for budgeting that we can give you. And there's a lot of blogs on our website about like how to budget and use 1,000 euros a month. So, and what's included in our program, like I said, we do guaranteed job placement in Madrid. We offer pre-departure assistance with comprehensive pre-departure course, which will cover like how to get started, your life in Spain, any like cultural differences you need to go like learn, how like working at your school will go, and just like getting you prepared to go to Spain. We also offer visa guidance and walk you through the logistics of getting your visa before you go. We'll also enroll you in international emergency health insurance and Spanish health insurance, so you will be covered while you're there for the year. And we have an on-site orientation, which is 4 days when you first arrive, and a hotel stay is included in that. And our orientation will go over logistics, such as like how to find housing in the first few weeks. There'll also be a bunch of cultural activities. Orientation is also a great place where you'll make friends, as like all of the CIEE teachers will be together. So it's a good place to like, you'll learn a lot, you'll take a lot in, and you'll meet a lot of people. So it's a lot easier to make friends abroad, I think, than like here, because you're all in the same mindset and you all have like the singular focus of you're there in Spain to teach. So it's easy to connect with each other. And yeah, like I said, guaranteed friends. I still talk with a lot of people from my time teaching abroad. It is really like a life-changing experience. So the relationships you'll make in Spain will be lifelong. And yeah, we do have an on-site support team in Spain. So if you ever have troubles while you're in Madrid, you can reach out to them and they can help you. And what is the job? The job is as a language and culture assistant. So you will be the assistant teacher. You'll have a lead teacher in your classroom. You'll work primarily in like bilingual primary or secondary schools. And you're not required to know Spanish. It's actually discouraged to speak Spanish in the classroom. So you'll be teaching in English. So if you don't know Spanish, don't worry. You're there to teach English. And you'll cover a variety of subjects. It's pretty much like, it's hard to like truly prepare you because like your lead teacher will like, you know, it varies from school to school and teacher to teacher. So, but you can expect to teach like cultural English things like holidays, like Halloween, Christmas, etc. Vocabulary games and stuff like that. So you're there really to support the lead teacher and help them out. And we have a few program options. So we have our regular Teach in Spain program. And then if you'd like, you can add on some stuff. So we do have some immersion programs that you can add on for either 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And we'll go through those in the next slide. But the immersion is a great time to like kind of help you settle in and get started. And you can also add a TEFL certificate to any program, and it'll help you get like trained for your teaching time.
Awesome, thank you. So if you're looking at this on the computer and you take a picture of that QR code, it takes you to some information about the immersion program, which Em just mentioned. So the nice thing about that is you get to go to Spain a little bit early, have more time to find housing while you already have housing, because you'll have 4 nights in a hotel with CIEE plus either 2 or 4 weeks of a homestay. You live with a Spanish host family during this time. It's a great time to practice your Spanish and also, you know, help them with their English. And then you get 3 to 4 hours of Spanish classes Monday through Friday during those couple of weeks. Before you go, you will be tested on your level of Spanish. So whether it's like complete beginner or you're already advanced and just want to learn more, we'll put you in the appropriate classes for that. You get 2 meals a day during this time, provided by your host family, and it'll just help you feel more confident and ready before you go and teach. So like, you know, a lot of you said you're there to learn Spanish, so why not learn through these formal classes before you go? And of course, you get to spend summer in Spain. I will say it's very, very hot. So if you get there, you're going to be basking in the humidity, but they do have air conditioning, so don't worry. And then you'll have time to travel around Europe a little bit before school begins. So it's just time to get settled beforehand. So if you want to add that option, that's great. Also, if you're unsure, you can apply for the program and still commit to the program and make that final decision about having immersion up until about April. So don't feel like you need to figure this out right now. You can have a conversation with us and do a little bit of research. We have some good blog posts about it too, to see if that is a good fit for you. So like we said, all of our placements are in the region of Madrid. It's this little triangle. If you go on Google Maps or whatever you use, you can just type in region of Madrid and you'll be able to zoom in and see what that looks like. You can see the center here is around here, but people can be placed all over the region. All the schools are accessible by public transportation, and we do our best to place you within your placement preferences, which we ask you about in your application. But we can't make guarantees. It's all in order that people commit to the program. So I want to share really quick. This is our community guide. Rachel and Em, can you tell me that you can see this? Just nod. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share this in the chat. It's our community guide, which has a bunch of stories about people being placed all over the region. I'm not going to go through it all now, but they talk about their commutes, how they found housing, what that looks like, what do you do on your commutes. But most people do commute 60 to 90 minutes to get to their school. With that said, you do get the choice of living wherever is best for you. So you can live either close to your school or not. You can make that decision about the commute, but I recommend looking at this later on. I just put it in the chat to see kind of stories of people who are there right now. Okay. Housing in Madrid. This is probably our number one question is, how will I get housing? You will. Most teachers find their roommates through the CIEE Facebook group, which we've not created yet. We're doing that either this week or next week, but for those who are going on the program, they'll all be able to meet each other in the Facebook group really, really soon. Also, you know, CIEE is great for community and making friends, but also it's good to get out of your CIEE bubble. It's a good comfort zone to have other American friends, but also a lot of people just look for a room with people who are already living in an already occupied apartment. So that's also an option, to live with people who live with Spanish people to practice your Spanish. All of you said, well, not all of you, but I'm sure all of you do want to learn Spanish. On average, people spend 500 to 600 euros a month on rent in a shared apartment. Living alone will cost a lot more. You'll need to have a lot more savings, and prices in the center are a lot higher than prices outside of the center. And on average, it takes people about 2 to 3 weeks after arrival to find housing. I'm also going to share this guide about housing, kind of just so you can get an idea of what that process looks like, and feel like you have a start on what. So like I said, I'm giving you homework for after this webinar just to do a little bit more reading, but I found the things that I think you will be asking us the most about. So that's what we're here to help with. And the Spanish visa. How do I get a visa? So you will get a language assistant visa to live in Spain. If you are a dual EU citizen and you have an EU passport, send us that information as soon as you apply and you won't need a visa. So there are always that lucky group of people who don't need to worry about the visa because they have dual citizenship. Otherwise, you have to apply for a visa in the United States this summer. We are going to start sharing materials about that February and March with, we'll have an early on visa guide, a very comprehensive visa guide, and then we also just track and make sure you are on track with your visa progress. So that's a big thing that we do in the spring and summer. You have to be flexible in the summer with your travel plans because you will be without a passport for 4 to 6 weeks in the summer when you apply for your visa. And yes, you're also financially responsible for the visa. We will share all that information really soon, but basically we know that the region and commuting is really important. That's why we want to share that community guide. We know that housing is really important. That's why we want to share that information. And then also we know that the Spanish visa can be very, very stressful, but we've helped thousands and thousands of people get to Spain. And we have really good resources to share with you to make sure that you're all set for that. Rachel, take it away.
Yes. Okay. So your options for getting TEFL certified. So, there is no teacher training through the CIE program, but the TEFL course can definitely provide that. So if you're looking for help getting started or just some tips and tricks to be successful in the classroom when teaching abroad, a TEFL certificate course is definitely going to be your best bet. So there's really two options that I always recommend to folks that are going to Spain. The first option is the 150-hour TEFL certificate course. This is really the most versatile course if you are looking to make teaching abroad more of a long-term opportunity, or you're looking to demonstrate to employers after you're done teaching abroad that you have a certification specifically in teaching. This is a great opportunity. It's 150 total training hours, of course. It takes about 11 weeks to complete. You would get live instruction from a TEFL instructor, and then you're also connected with a cohort of students. We cap our classes at 16 students, so you have a really nice small group feel. There is a 20-hour practicum. It's like a student teaching opportunity that's required to demonstrate what you're learning in the TEFL course in the classroom. And our course is internationally recognized and valid for life. It's something that never expires, always something that you can put on your resume to, again, show professional development to future employers. Right now, we actually are offering a $400 discount for those who are doing a CIE Teach Abroad program, like the one in Madrid. If you have questions about that, or you're looking to cash in on that $400 discount, please email tefl@cie.org, that email that's in the bottom corner there, so that we can help you open up an application with that $400 discount applied. The second opportunity for TEFL would be the 60-hour course. This is a very introductory level course. It's very low commitment. It's just 60 total training hours. You have up to 6 months to complete this. You can submit an application tomorrow and get enrolled tomorrow if you wanted to. It's very up to you and your schedule completely. You also do get support from a TEFL instructor. But again, it's really more about getting a basic introduction to what teaching is about, teaching strategies and methodologies, as well as like an overview of the English language to be able to answer those questions that might be more difficult from your students. So two options there. Lauren, if you're so kind as to go to the next slide, I have a little quiz. Because sometimes it might be hard to know if getting TEFL certified is right or not. It's not required for teaching in Spain, but we do highly recommend it because, again, you want to make sure that you're feeling prepared for the teaching role. But if you have things like prior teaching experience, maybe you've already taught abroad or you've been teaching in the classroom in the US, it might not be as necessary for you, but definitely if you are scoring, anywhere between 0 to 2 points, considering getting TEFL certified is going to be a great option for you as you prepare to teach in Spain. So again, any questions that you have, you can always direct them to myself, Rachel, and then the TEFL email, which is tefl@cie.org.
Thank you. Okay, everyone here done? I'm gonna assume yes. Okay, so what happens when I get to Spain? Because like I said, we will help you a lot with the pre-departure phase, like up until now, until you are on that airplane and arrive. Once you get there, you will have on-site staff. So we're US based, and then you'll have your Madrid staff when you get there. So they're all locals who work in the CIE Madrid office and help with orientation and things that happen when you're in Spain. So another little thing I want to share for you to look at later, your homework, is our orientation. This is just an example. It's on our Instagram of what orientation looks like through the week. It's super, super fun. You meet tons of people. You're going to be super social, having a lot going on. But it's really, really fun. Let me get back to this. So yeah, you'll have your airport pickup, your orientation, meet friends, and then just have a lot of sessions like health and safety, cultural differences, what does teaching look like, what does housing look like, what does residency look like, but it's a lot of good information when you get there. And then of course, when you go to Spain, you'll be doing your apartment hunting. We do highly, highly recommend not signing a lease until you see the place in person. Some people do sign leases and give over money before they get there, but we don't recommend that at all. And that is across the board. CIE teachers recommend seeing it in person once you get to Spain and then signing a lease in person. And then obviously, if you want to do the immersion program, that's an option. The 2 or 4 week program, you can travel and get to know the city. We recommend practicing your commute also before you start teaching, just so you can get an idea of the bus and metro system. You'll set up your bank, you'll work on your residency and get a Spanish background check. And then teaching starts October 1st. So everyone gets to Spain. We have several orientation dates from early as mid-August for the immersion program, and then late August through September, just because we do send a lot of people. So we have to have different groups. People get there early and then start teaching October 1st. So what is next? You'll need to complete your CIEE application if you have not already. The deadline is March 1st, but we are accepting applications now. We have been since December, so people are getting on board and getting the information they need to be ready to go. Get TEFL certified, of course. Of course, you can contact Rachel at TEFL at CIEE if you're interested. Definitely start budgeting and saving. Teaching abroad is expensive. You do have to have some money saved to for your upfront costs. For example, if you're getting there in August or September, you are not getting paid until the first week of November, because that's when you get paid for October's work. So just keep in mind that you do need to have some savings for your housing deposit and groceries in the first few months. And also, you're going to be meeting a ton of new people and wanting to say yes to everything. So just having some savings is good. Learn Spanish. We recommend Duolingo. I love Duolingo, but also just getting at least some basics down before you go. You'll make friends in the Facebook group soon. And then we are going to have a ton more information sessions coming up about the visa process, professionalism in teaching in Spain, the placement process, housing, insurance, pre-departure, and more. So you'll be hearing from us constantly before you go to Spain. Yeah, our goal, well, I always say my goal is that you'll be sick of us by the time you get there, because we'll be bothering you so much with your tasks and to-do list. And quick overview of the timeline. And I'll put this in the chat as well. This is our timeline. This is what 2025 looks like. I'm not going to go over the whole thing now. I just put it in the chat, but you can get an idea of what to expect up until now for the next few months. We have each month laid out with what's going on up until you arrive in Spain. So just letting you know that that is something to look at as well. And that is our quick spiel. So wanted to make sure we weren't talking too much and had time to answer some questions. Rachel or Em, do you want to read out the questions and then I can do some answering?
Sure. I think the first question here, the question number 1, I think is something a little bit more personal. So I would definitely recommend sending an email to teachinspain@cie.org. Lauren, if you want to put the Teach in Spain email in the chat. The second question though is, how do you find housing? Is it difficult? What are most living situations like?
Yeah, so for finding housing, I recommend not really thinking about it too much besides in terms of saving until you get your placement. You will get your placement around late April or early May, and that's when you'll be able to see on a map where your school is located. From there, you'll be able to say, okay, if my school is located here, now I want to live somewhere within this range so I can have my commute be this long. Then from there, you can start looking at like Idealista. That's one of the big websites that people use to look for housing. But keep in mind, when you're looking at this stuff in May, you're not going to be reaching out to landlords. You're not going to be signing leases. You're just going to be getting ideas of, okay, this is how much places in this location cost, and just getting ideas on where you want to live. But also stay flexible of being open to a variety of neighborhoods and areas. I recommend, meeting people through the Facebook group who might be roommates, but also being open to the Spanish roommates. In June or so, we typically have a housing panel discussion with people on the program who give all their tips and tricks about housing. At orientation, you'll hear from your orientation leaders who are alumni of the program about how they found housing. People sometimes are nervous to go to Spain and not have housing figured out, but 90% of people don't have housing figured out when they arrive in Spain. They, after the orientation or after their homestay, or if you're in a homestay, you'll probably find housing while you're in your homestay. So you don't have to get temporary housing after. If you're just doing the regular program and have the 4-night hotel, then you'll probably get an Airbnb or hotel afterwards for 2 weeks or so while you're in person looking at apartments. Most people live in apartments with about 2 or 3 roommates. That's pretty typical.
Yeah. And the next question in that series of questions is, of the 3 options in terms of living areas, which is the most popular? I think they might be referring to the living areas that are mentioned on the application. And what's the biggest difference in daily life in living in rural areas? Is it easy to meet people?
Yeah, so the 3 options in terms of living areas, I actually am not sure because I'm not sure what that means. So if someone wants to elaborate, but for the biggest difference in daily life and more rural, you're probably gonna have more chances to practice your Spanish. It's going to be cheaper. And I think like in our community, oh no, I know what they are talking about. In our community guide, sorry, I do know what you're talking about actually. What did I say? There's something up here. Teachers who live in the city center with a longer commute, and then they live in the rural areas with a shorter commute and live outside in the urban area. I think honestly, I don't want to answer this question. I want you to read through this very long guide, but keep in mind too that you don't have to make like these decisions now. It's just good to be able to do some research now. So yeah, go ahead and read some of those stories. People do also, some people really do want to live in the center, and then some people do want to live in more secluded areas. It's really a personal choice. It also could depend on where you live in the US right now. Maybe you live in a really big city right now and you're like, I want to have a more quiet life in Madrid. Or maybe it's the opposite. You live in a small city now and you're like, I'm gonna live in the center no matter what. But just keep in mind that being flexible and not being 100% on one thing right now is also very important, just so that you can have a more enjoyable time.
Yeah. When I think to elaborate on the easy to meet people part, I think part of going through a program like CIEE makes meeting people a lot easier. The Facebook group is a huge way to meet people. People are very active on the Facebook group. I know they were when I was a participant of the program. They are now. I've seen the Facebook group in the last couple of years. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because I think there are lots of opportunities. Madrid is a huge international city. And there's a little bit for everyone, I think. So I don't think that should be any concern of yours, because there'll be lots and lots of opportunities to meet people, whether you live in an urban or a rural area. There'll be chances to meet people. I think the last question there was what orientation is like. I think we talked about that a little bit. If you have questions about that, definitely take a look at the highlights on Instagram, and then you can send us a message too if you want to know more about it. Next question is, what makes CIEE unique in comparison to other Teach Abroad programs?
Well, we're the best, obviously. Well, I think we have the guaranteed placement in Madrid, and I don't know if there are other programs that do that. And also there have been times where when I was at orientation once and people from other programs were coming to our orientation trying to sneak in and get our information because they weren't getting enough help at theirs. So I think in general, though, the community of the staff on site and the help and support that you get, and just the other teachers, it is such a good community of people. And we will make sure that no one slips through the cracks. If you're worried, you can schedule a call with us as much as you want. We give everyone individualized attention if they need it. So we're very accessible, and we want to make sure that you're prepared. We do a lot of hand holding. We know that you're all adults and can do this, but also we know it's really important, especially if like you're maybe you haven't been abroad before, you're a little nervous, we really want to make sure that you're feeling good about the program. So you can definitely schedule a call with us too, as much as or as little as you need to make sure that, like, the amount of times I get phone calls from people and they're like, can you just tell me I'm on track? Am I missing anything? What do I do? I don't know what to do. We can help you with that stuff.
Yeah, great. Next question is, when does the program end?
June 30th. So it is a full academic year. Your last day will be around June 30th, depending how the weekends fall. And then a lot of people, I think over 50% of our teachers renew for a second year.
Great. Can someone with a spouse and a small child do the program?
Yes, we do get parents and spouses that go each year. You do need to, we can't help with the visa or provide any orientation support for them. But if you have questions about that, email us, and we can at least get you information on the consulate you'll need to use so you can start preparing for their documents.
What is the estimated departure dates? Just trying to plan the summer out.
Yep, we will have rolling orientations from late August through September, mid-August if you're doing immersion. And we, in May or so, we will send out a survey in your application on your preferred date. So some people want to go early because they want to have more time to spend in Europe in the summer and have more time to get all their stuff sorted out. Or some people are like, I have a summer wedding, I can't go until the end of September. So we are able to work with you on your preferred date.
I think, and
Also just adding, don't have your summer be internationally at all. You will need to stay in the US in June and July.
Yeah, in order to apply for the visa, you do need to be home and have flexible travel or flexible summer plans.
Yeah, cool. What is the winter volunteer program in Madrid, and what are the differences from this program?
Awesome. So we do have a volunteer program. It is not in Madrid. It's in a different region. It's a more rural area. How about email us about that? I don't want to get too much into the volunteer program because we're focusing on Madrid, but it is a shorter program in a more rural area.
How long is the visa valid for, and what options are there for remaining in Spain following the end of the school year?
Cool. So the visa is actually only valid for 90 days, which confuses people sometimes, but that 90 days is when you obtain your residency, which is something our Madrid team will guide you through when you arrive in Spain. So you will be able to stay in Spain through the end of June. This upcoming summer, there may be a new travel advisory for those going to the EU, which we're learning more about, but you should be able to stay in Spain longer if you fill out a form. That it's too early to tell because this is summer 2026, but we'll let you know how long you can stay.
How long does it usually take to get an answer after submitting our application?
We get back to everyone within 2 weeks. Be sure that you have your letter of recommendation as well. Some people submit their applications and forget about the letter, and then we won't review your application until everything is complete.
Do rentals in Madrid carry broker fees? I live in Boston and this is super common. Curious if this is something you have heard of, extra 1 month of rent up front.
Sometimes, yes. I think about 50%. I forget the percentage. I have it written down somewhere else. But a lot of them do require deposits or rental agency fees. So that is also some budgeting to consider when you're going abroad. Is it's not just going to be 1 month's rent. It could be, most people pay like 1 to 2 months rent when they put down their deposit.
What kind of proof I need to give so that I can get a language visa, taking into consideration I live in North Africa? I would say
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I would say if you have personal questions about your personal situation, to just email us for sure.
Yeah. And I do want to say also that this program is for US citizens only. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Let's see. Will we have support with starting a bank account in Spain, and will we get taxed in the US once we get back? And then the last question, I think we answered already.
Yep. So yeah, in our pre-departure, we have like kind of a preparation course that has exactly how to fill out or how to sign up for your bank. So some people can start the process while in the US, but it's also just a quick trip to the bank when you get there. We do share information on that. what was part two of that question? I thought.
About being
Or-
taxed.
Oh, being taxed. Your stipend is not taxed. You get 1,000 euros into your Spanish bank account every month. You do have to report your income to the US, and we'll share that information next January.
And I think this question might have already been asked, but just to clarify, when is orientation for teachers not doing TEFL?
So same thing throughout August and September.
Perfect. Also, what is the Facebook group called for 2025-2026?
It is called nothing right now because we're starting it later this week or next week. But we will share it with everyone who's going on the program. We'll send an email with all that information.
Yes, and I
Yep,
think
got that one.
that one too. What is the average age of people who go? Also, is there an option to do January through June?
Yeah, so average age, I would say typically about 30% of our teachers are 22, 23 fresh college grads. Then the rest are from anywhere mid to upper 20s, early 30s. We do get people in their 40s and 50s each year, though, also. The government accepts people up to age 59. So we do see people at a variety of ages, but mostly 20s, some early 30s. Oh, and then for January through June, we do not have the application open yet. We're really focusing on the fall right now because it is our huge program. The January program is much, much smaller. And if you have questions about that, you can email us.
What are school schedule breaks, etc.?
Yeah, so the school schedule will probably not be given to you until your first day of school. If you get a schedule, you will before October 1st, then you're very lucky. Keep in mind that in Spain, I know as Americans, we can be very much like wanting to plan everything all the time and know all the details of everything. But in Spain, it is not that way. They will maybe not even have the schedule for you on your first day. And they'll be like, okay, come back tomorrow too. And we'll figure it out then. So being flexible and just knowing like, you'll get your schedule when you get it. Great. But with that said, you do get about 2 weeks off around Christmas and New Year's. You get a week off around Easter. There's tons of other holidays sprinkled in between. So you're going to have plenty of time off. But if you want to know your school schedule now, or even in the summer, you probably won't.
Yeah. Are you able to travel after June, or does the visa expire right away?
Yeah, so that is something we are figuring out because rules and laws are changing in the EU. But we have so many people between high school study abroad, college study abroad, and teach abroad. There's a ton. We have thousands and thousands of people in Europe that we will know those answers when they come out.
Is it possible to do the visa application earlier so that international travel is possible over the summer?
No, you will not get certain documents that are required until about June. We'll go over all of visa documents February and March, but there are some that are not ready until the last minute because it's through the government and they do not expedite certain documents that are not ready until June.
Right. How diverse is the program?
I would say it's pretty diverse. That I don't have like statistics up in front of me right now. But for example, like we actually have a lot of blog posts on if you're a person of color living in Madrid. And also we had a group, there was a WhatsApp group last year with over 100 people in a queer CIEE group. So it's like we do get people from all different backgrounds and diverse people. And I would say you can find each other in the Facebook group and make your own like groups as well so that you can find other people who maybe you want to chat with.
All right. When is the January-June application for 2026?
That is not available yet. It'll probably be available like around March or April.
Cool. And what is the acceptance rate for the program?
We do have a high acceptance rate if you apply for the program on time and if you are eligible and qualified. So we'll get back to everyone regardless, but we do have a pretty high acceptance rate.
And that is it.
Boom, that was speed round.
Lauren is the speed question queen.
Anything else? Well, thank you.
Can I just
Oh,
add,
yeah, and-
adding to that
yep.
acceptance question at the end? Also, we encourage you all to apply early and get all your stuff in, because the earlier you apply, the better chance you'll get your placements and your preferred choices. So definitely go submit an application right after this webinar, please.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I will put in the chat where to apply. Oops.
Apply. And then if you want to get started with your TEFL course, the $400 discount that I mentioned earlier is only valid on February and March courses, which are really a great time to start your TEFL course. Folks do get TEFL certified, especially if you're doing the 150-hour course. It's advisable to finish the TEFL course before you arrive in Spain, and it's advisable to finish the TEFL course before summer hits, because summer is notoriously a very busy time for visa applications. So February and March are great if you're able to do that. I think we're just answering a question here. If you have any other questions, feel free to pop them in the question and answer box.
Well, and also just email us. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. We'll wrap it up here, but thank you so much for chatting with us, and we'll send this recording out soon. And go take a look at those resources that I sent you. It's a lot of reading, but it is the reason I gave you those are because those are our most frequently asked questions. Okay, bye-bye.